Welcome to Scone Baking Beyond. Hi, I'm Kathy, and I enjoy making scones, muffins, cookies, and all sorts of delicious baked goodies. I have followers of my YouTube channel from around the world, so I don't know if it's wintertime for you or summertime for you. Right now, it's wintertime for us, but year-round, we can get fresh raspberries. So today, I'm going to share with you my recipe for raspberry almond scones. These scones are filled with fresh raspberries, which are my husband's favorite fruit, and also with sliced almonds. And then to add a little crunch, I added sliced almonds on top. And because my husband loves dark chocolate, I drizzled dark chocolate on top. You will love eating these scones any time of the year. So let's bake. When making scones, the first thing I always do is I grate my butter. So I have here 1/2 cup of cold butter, and so I'm going to grate this. And the reason why I grate this is because as the butter melts, it'll let off some steam before it melts. And that will create wonderful layers in your scones. So we'll get this butter grated. Okay, now that our butter is all grated, and I've handled this butter and it's starting to come up to room temperature. So I'm going to put this butter up in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Okay, while our butter's in the freezer, it's time to get our dry ingredients together. So I have here 2 cups of unbleached flour. I have here 1/4 cup of whole wheat pastry flour. I like adding a little whole wheat flour to all my baked goods. I use whole wheat pastry flour because it's lighter in texture than regular whole wheat flour. So I have here 1/4 cup of whole wheat pastry flour. I have here 1/2 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to whisk our ingredients together just until they're combined. And to that, I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of sliced almonds. And we're just going to mix that in. So I have here our 1/2 cup of grated butter, and it's nice and frozen. So we're going to add that into our dry ingredients. That looks good. And some of the pieces always kind of don't make it in the bowl, so I got to get them off the board here. Oh yeah, I got more. There they go. Get them all in the bowl. Now all I need to do, because I grated this butter, I don't have to cut it in or really mix it in with your hands or cut it in with a pastry blender. All I need to do is stir it in with the dry ingredients and just get all that butter nicely coated with the flour. Before the butter melts, it will create some steam, and that steam will create these wonderful layers in your scones. And that is why I grate my butter, and I keep this butter as cold as I can for as long as I can. So we're just going to mix in the butter until all the butter is coated with the flour. So now we're going to make a little well, and I have here 1 cup of buttermilk, and it's nice and cold, just came out the refrigerator. Pour that in. There we go. And we're going to mix this until it's just combined. Okay, we're going to take a little flour our board here. There we go. And now we'll get our dough out of here. Now I don't want to overmix this, so I just barely got this together, but I do need to kind of do a little mixing with my hand at this point to get the rest of the dry ingredients in there. And you will leave some dry ingredients in the bottom of the bowl, and that's okay. So I have a little bit left in there, and that's okay. So I'm going to put this on my board here. And I'm going to roll this out into a 12-inch by 12-inch square. We're going to take a little technique from croissant making to keep this butter cold, keep it kind of laminated, so again we get those nice layers in our scones. So have a rolling pin, put a little flour on top. There we go. I'm going to roll this out into a 12-inch by 12-inch square. Let's see how we're doing. Yep, we're 12 inches by 12 inches. My scraper here has inches measured on it, so I know how big my dough is, how wide my dough is. So I know the measurements of this dough. And it doesn't have to be exactly 12 inches by 12 inches. It just needs to be roughly 12 inches by 12 inches. So now, again, we're taking a technique from croissant making, and we're going to fold this into thirds. And fold it back into thirds, and fold in thirds the other way, and back the other way. There we are. And we have a nice little package. I have this nice little board here. I'm going to put a little flour on my board here. I've handled this dough. It's starting to come up to room temperature, and I want to keep that butter cold. So I'm going to put this dough up in the freezer for about 5 minutes. Okay, I've just taken the dough out of the freezer. It's been 5 minutes. It's nice and cold. I put some flour on my board here, so we're just going to put it on the board. We're going to roll this out into another 12-inch by 12-inch square. Okay, let's see how we're doing. And just kind of snug it up. This time I want this a little bit more accurate on the 12-inch by 12-inch square. So we have 12 inches that way and 12 inches that way. We're really good. So I have here 6 ounces of fresh raspberries, and we're just going to sprinkle these on. Oops, I saw more. There we go. We're just going to try and sprinkle these and get these well distributed around our dough. This way, with this technique, this helps keep these raspberries whole. They're not quite as crushed and broken up, and it makes for a better dough. So we are going to kind of push these down into the dough a little bit. They will get crushed, but they'll be whole pieces. There we go. And now we're going to take a little technique from making cinnamon rolls. We're actually going to start rolling this up like a cinnamon roll. And this way, we didn't get our raspberries all broken up into small little pieces. We have nice whole pieces of raspberries in our scones. I'm going to roll this up, and when I get to the end, we're actually just going to kind of smash this down till it's about 1 inch thick. So it's going to be about 1 inch thick, about 4 inches wide, about 12 inches long. And now I can feel the raspberries are starting to kind of get squished in there. That's okay. There we go. So that's about 1 inch thick, and we really don't care, but it is about 12 inches long and about 4 inches wide. So now I have here a 2.5 inch round cutter. It's a biscuit cutter. Put in my flour here. And I'm going to try and get as many cuts out of this first roll as I can, because once I get my cuts made, when I go put it back together, I'm really going to start smashing up those raspberries. So we're going to try and get as many whole raspberry scones as we can. We'll put these on our baking sheet. And you can see all the wonderful raspberries in there. This is going to be so good. Okay, there's our first cut. So now I need to get all this dough squished back together, and this is when the raspberries are going to really start getting broken up, but that's the way it is. So we're going to kind of get this back to, get some flour in my hands because the raspberries are breaking up, and get it on the board. And we want this about 1 inch thick again. There we go. And we'll keep on doing this until our dough is used up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give them an egg wash. So I have 1 egg that I slightly beaten up, and so I'm just going to give them each a little egg wash, and this makes that nice golden brown top on top. And now just to add a little bit of crunch, I have here 2 tablespoons of sliced almonds, and I'm just going to add a little bit on each one. I'm going to let these sit here for about 5 minutes, and that'll let the egg wash kind of get soaked in, a little bit dried out a little bit, and that'll make for actually a nicer golden brown top to it. And then I'm going to bake them in a 400-degree oven for about 17 to 20 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so now it's time to bake these. So we're going to bake these in a 400-degree oven for 17 to 20 minutes. All right, it's been 18 minutes and they're nice and golden brown. Don't those look just wonderful? Now the first thing I want to do is take these scones off this baking sheet. The reason why I take the scones off the baking sheet right away is because I don't want the bottom of the scones to cook more and get overcooked and get really dry. So we're going to let these cool completely, and then it's time to put on that dark chocolate drizzle. Okay, I have here 2 ounces of dark chocolate that I'm breaking up into small pieces. I'll keep on breaking these up. And what we're going to do is we're going to microwave these at full strength for about 30 seconds, give it a stir, and give it another 15 seconds, give it another stir, and keep on doing another 15 seconds until they're fully melted. So as you can see here, my chocolate is fully melted. So what I have here is I just have a little snack size little Ziploc bag, and I'm just going to pull it back. There we go. Because sometimes I drip. I'm just going to put my 2 ounces of melted chocolate in here. So we'll zip this up, get all the air out that we can, and zip that up. Now we're just going to take our kitchen shears here and just cut off a corner, and we're just going to use this as our piping bag. There we go. And now we're just going to add, let me move this out the way, make sure I'm not going to drizzle this all over the place. There we go. Now we're just going to drizzle this dark chocolate on the top of our scones because this is so good. So we're just going to drizzle this on. A little extra on that one. There. Oh, these are going to be so good. So there we have them. We have our dark chocolate drizzle on top. They're loaded with raspberries, and then we have the sliced almonds on top for a little crunch, and then sliced almonds inside. So I think it's time to try one. Take this one right here, a little plate here. I'm just going to cut this open so you can see how loaded they are with raspberries throughout. Got all these nice whole raspberries in there, the chocolate on top, and then the almonds and all the nice little layers from that butter. So, see if I can eat one without getting chocolate all over myself. These are so good. You get those whole raspberries in there, and then the almond throughout the scone, and then the crunchy sliced almonds on top. And that wonderful dark chocolate just goes so well with the raspberries. For the complete recipe, please go to my website, sconebaking.com, and there is a link below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for future videos. I hope this recipe and this video inspires you to bake. Thank you for watching.